Myra Scott's going to tell us why this change is going to be so exciting. Here's exciting Myra Scott.
Thank you, Paul. You're right, it is affecting us, already has started, in fact. Tonight's story, however, is about an experimental art form, and even the way we did this story is experimental because we used our new mini-cam system, which is part of what Paul was talking about. Videotape is a recording method that's long been used in the television business, but tonight we are talking about videotape as the newest art form, and that makes for some very crazy images. I'm going to clue you in. Our story has 3 parts. We'll show you the home for this art, which is the museum. We're going to talk about the distribution system for the work, which is mostly cable, and then we're going to see the art form itself. Now, if you don't completely understand this story, don't worry. Even our executive producer didn't understand it. Try and experience it. In fact, as they once said in the Outer Limits science fiction TV show, there is nothing wrong with your television set. For the next 5.5 minutes, it's under our control.
This is a glimpse of a video landscape of tomorrow, when you will be able to switch to any TV station on the earth. And TV guides will be as fat as the Manhattan telephone book.
It's like an explosion for the mind and the senses, a succession of images and special effects created in a studio. We're liable to call it television. The tools are the same, but the artists call it video, the newest form of art.
Now, television, well, it's been around since I've been born. It's been around for a quarter of a century now. And it's not really revealed too much about the nature of our being. It's surely said a lot about the nature of our economy and the nature of our political system, but it's never really been turned inward as a tool, a creative tool. And fortunately, we're now at the point in the development of the medium where personal statements can be made. It's not like television. It's much more like, new theater. It's much more like avant-garde art than anything else. As a matter of fact, it is an avant-garde form of art, although that's a kind of a word that has lost a lot of its meaning because of overuse, I suppose. It's art.
These are the new cameras that have made video art possible. They are completely portable with their own power packs. Television stations call them mini-cams. We used one to tape this story. Low-cost versions of these cameras are available so an artist can conceivably own one. Video has other uses for museums. The camera can record exhibits and broadcast them instantly over cable television. In that way, the museum can come into your home or the homes of those unable to come to the museum. The videotape camera extends the cultural community beyond 4 walls. It changes the nature of museums. The playback machines for video systems are compact. A federal law states that by 1976, each city must have a public access cable TV channel over which anyone can broadcast video material. This new Long Beach museum, designed by I.M Pei, will probably give Los Angeles its channel. Pei is a famous, innovative architect. His museum design has been called the beginning of 21st century architecture, the only museum in the world designed to include a full-fledged TV studio. Focal point of the museum is the forum. It can be set up into any kind of stage or studio environment you can think of. Artists could display their video work or tape it here. Stage plays could be taped, multimedia shows done on screens that encircle the room. A floor below is the TV studio itself. Incidentally, we shot this sequence on the museum on film. You can probably see the difference in quality. Film looks fuzzier than videotape. This is the experimental work of Nina Sobell, a videotape artist in Venice. There are about 85 video artists in the country. Why don't they use film? Film reproduces images mechanically. Video does it electronically, coding and decoding images just like the human brain. We asked Nina Sobell why she uses video.
because it deals with time, and in the same sense that this piece of glass breaking does not, I'm not involved with it as a sculptural form in the end, and what I'm really interested is the action involved in that, in the timing involved in creating that piece, and what is creating that piece, and how is it being done. And at the end, I just piled up the glass and carted it away.
We're finally learning to take the tools that we've usually had a very passive relationship to, such as television, and start to develop a kind of active, meaningful relationship with them. Instead of becoming just viewers of television and critics of television, it's now possible for people to produce television. Instead of purely being the recipient of media, it's now possible to become the producer of media. What we're on is the beginning of a new era, which will eventually lead to a total decentralization of audio and visual communications. Eventually, audio-visual communication, or video, will be as common as the telephone system, and everyone will be able to produce two-way audio-visual information and communicate like that.
And we now return control of your television set to you. And we want to add a note, too. Who is going to finance such expensive endeavors as video art? Well, so far the artists have been working with small foundation grants, and now they are hoping that the state will help out, and that depends on how much money the new Brown administration is going to allot for the arts. Anyway, there is a very exciting future in the use of video techniques, so stay tuned. Paul?
Myra, there are a lot of questions that I would like to ask you about this, and I know we don't have time, but I know the word revolutionize may be a little trite, but if this new tape camera is not going to revolutionize the news business, it's going to change it an awful lot. And I think some of the people that work here upstairs know exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. Some construction men who are out of work staged a protest today. That story and more as we continue on KNBC.